Okay. I just had to redo this video because I really wasn't satisfied. And I was super fucking heated. I was so heated you would not believe. And I'm pretty sure if you watched the video, I was just throwing shit just because I was so heated. And I wanted to do this video in a proper manner, in a calm manner, because I wanted to explain myself why I'm fed up of Warner Brothers is bullshit. Hey, Bella! Oh shit! I didn't know you were gonna come in here. Um, yeah, I didn't know you were gonna come in here, Bella. Holy shit! Anyway, back to the main topic. I'm at that point with Warner Brothers, with DC, that I'm just like, fine. You want to be that way? I'm not going to promote you anymore. You're not going to be that little tension of, hey, I want you to attend me. I want you to whatchamacallit, the idiot boy, what has he done next? Bullshit. And I mean the idiot boy that causes so many bullshit problems. You're just like, oh God, what did he did now? And the rest is history. Warner Brothers put a statement out to all of us. We are not continuing the Snyderverse. They even throw in that fucking Justice League from 2017 just to wiggle that fucking nose at us and say, we gave you your film, but guess what? That's not canon, buddy. With an evil fucking grin and all that shit. And the problem is, and it really just, I'll say this right now, the problem is everyone is stupid to fucking cave into them. When I mean cave into them, everyone is hashtagging, fucking literally responding them in the worst way, and it has worked for so many studios. They're going to use that toxic with the worst degree. And also, they want this direction. They want it because they feel entitled, because they feel they know better. It is going to go down and down and down and hurt their movies every one bit. And when the recent Batman movie doesn't do that well, it may not be at first, but slowly, maybe potential sequels, or hell, I would not be surprised when that Black Superman shows up, because they feel like, fuck it, why not we do a Black Superman? Everyone has our own diversity. Hell, Marvel has their Black Captain America, done it the right way of doing things. Why don't we do our Superman? We have our Black Superman. Let's do it. Let's go there. And not build it up, not do any of that shit, not go forward with a story where after you do Justice League 2 and 3, you have it where Superman finds out that there's another, or should I say, couple of Kryptonians, Supergirl and another, and he's black, and you can go forward with a potential Man of Steel 2 where he's guiding the new heroes of Earth, and pretty much leading into maybe a potential Teen Titans movie, maybe leading into the new Justice League, all that shit. But guess what? We ain't gonna get none of that crap, because they don't give a fuck. And that was my frustration. That was my anger. That was my pure hatred. And I realized, and I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? You're caving into them. You're allowing them to get the best of you. You're allowing them to get the best of you because they know the easy to trigger you. They know if they trigger you, they beat you by default. And no one understands that. No one wants to understand it, because either they're too passionate on something, which is totally understandable, but sometimes too passionate, you get to be blinded. Yours truly, I have done that myself. I was blinded all the way up to a certain point, and I just realized they're just doing this just to piss us off. They're just doing this just because they want us to feel this way. It's a cruel, horrible direction. And I could never, ever, ever want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of a studio that does not give a shit what I want. You know, at least with Marvel, I give them some fucking credit. At least with Marvel, I'm looking forward to their films. I'm looking forward to Eternals. I'm looking forward to Shang-Chi, Black Widow, which I know the hype has dived down a lot since the pandemic. It's not as bad as Wonder Woman 84, where the thunder got stolen and Patty Jenkins was very salty. And not only the pandemic has hurt her film, but everyone nonstop questioning, what's your thoughts on the Snyder Cut? What's your thoughts on the Snyder Cut? And I can give you videos all this shit where I see her just like very pissed off, and not in a way where you see it in the interview right away. You see it after she bitches and moans about it when she's already hired by Disney. She automatically talked trash about them, automatically shit on them because she didn't like what was going on. And tell you the truth, her movie sucked anyway, so who fucking cares anyway? So, and God forbid what she's going to do on Star Wars. Oh, God. I mean, I'm sorry. I am not looking forward to her Star Wars movie. I think that movie's going to be trash in the worst way possible. But, I mean, and also another thing, just go even further, my point. And this is something where I'm not done roasting the fucking, the fans. I'm roasting literally the company, Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers of, we're going to do the multiverse. No, you're just doing the multiverse excuse because you have no fucking plan. You are literally doing the opposite what you should be doing. You had a plan. You had Zack Snyder's blueprints. You had everything, and you scrapped it all because you wanted to have light hope clutch bullcrap. I'm going to say this. Yeah, I do agree with this statement. Ever since Christopher Nolan done his Dark Knight trilogy, and yeah, say what you want on that whole thing, but it was the most consistent, dedicated trilogy that I really haven't seen in a long time in DC movies now. I haven't seen that besides Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder, if you watch Man of Steel all the way down to Justice League, perfection. And you're asking, why can't we get more? Why can't we get directions and great content? The problem is they fucked themselves to pretty much dealing with, we're going to not continue it because we don't want to. Or we're too broke and we got to go dirt cheap. There's other ways to get around this. And also another thing, the fans really don't see their opportunity to express their feelings on where they should go. Should they do a comic book? Should they do an animated movie? Should they do a fucking fucking TV series on HBO Max? But yet again, no one wants to do that. No one wants to have that conversation because all I see is restore the Snyderverse, bring Ben Affleck and everyone back to do Justice League 2 and 3, bring Cyborg and his film, bring the Batman, fucking say it wrong, fucking hell, bring the fucking Ben Affleck series. So let me get this straight. We're going to have Justice League 2 and 3, Ben Affleck series with Batman, as Batman, if you get what I'm saying. and also a Cyborg movie, and also a Man of Steel film. That's what I see. That's what I see a lot of the fan demand. But yet again, I literally raised my hand. I'm like, hold on, hold on. Couldn't we just have that in a comic book series? Couldn't we just have that maybe an HBO Max TV show if it's animated series or live action? And also another thing too, let's look at the actors. I mean, they're getting other, let's just say, other movies. Is getting another kid, and she's pregnant, and you know, you start to literally looking at all your options, and they don't want to do that. They're so blinded of their own stupidity that really, I'm sorry, you gotta fucking look at your options. And also another thing, does Zack Snyder wants to do it? I mean, sure, yeah, he said in a couple of interviews like he would be open for it, and he will never say no to a customer. I mean, it's a very dark time with DC fan, being a DC fan. Oh yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, it just, when I look at fucking Marvel, they're never gonna fuck up. And let's say they do, it's not gonna be that bad. Sure, yeah, one bad film, whip fucking do. They're gonna be way more better. Fucking yours truly, Thor, Love and Thunder, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and the fourth Captain America film. Dude, we're all good hands. We're going to be in good hands for many years to come. And plus the TV shows, we're going to do all that stuff. I mean, we're in such good hands with Marvel that you're just literally, you just get very bitter. And I think that's the whole thing. I think that's one of the reasons why people are just so bitter, because they feel cheated. They feel cheated that they could have had something even greater. And when they see something even amazing with Darkseid saying anti-nominator has been found, or anti-life has been found, we will stop at nothing to take it. And he goes down there to get ready to go to the ship. It really says a lot. And personally, I love Justice League, fantastic film. But I mean, I'll just say this: it's very sad, and I feel like a lot of fans don't understand what they are getting themselves into, what they're getting themselves into on this bullshit hole that they're digging themselves. You're allowing them beat you by default, by becoming the thing that they said about you. What I mean is, they say Zack Snyder fans are toxic. You're becoming toxic. Instead of having to where if you want to cancel HBO Max, fine, that's all for it. I personally don't give a fuck. Personally, I cancel my HBO Max for two main reasons. One, I already saw the movies I wanted to care about. And three, I have no desire watching any other film because there's lack of content and there's nothing there going forward to it. Really, there's nothing. And also another thing is, this whole HBO Max really is a failure. Just like the DC universe was a failure. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised Titans and Doom Patrol and Young Justice Season 4 are probably going to be the last of it. I don't see it any further. I think that shit is only going to last a couple more years and it crashes and burns. That says a lot. Anyway, but yet again, I could be proven wrong on HBO Max, but I mean, it is what it is. But I'll just say this. Oh yeah, dude, they're already become the king. They already become the king, and yes, I agree, Bella. That is trash, and I know it is. But the fact is, the problem is fans don't want to see what they're digging themselves into. They don't want to see what really the problem that they're having. And I feel like that's the issue. Do I want a Justice League 2? Yes. Do I want a Ben Affleck series? Yeah, no problem. I mean, if we could have Flash in the CW and have the Flash in the movies, there's no reason to not have two Batmans. There's no reason to not have two Supermans. There's no reason. Maybe one day they want to do the other Wonder Womans. Maybe Donna Troy, Cassie Kane, or the future state Wonder Woman that's out right now, which is a really great character. But it's besides the point. Why not do it? But yet again, Warner Brothers is in a very downhill financial. Everything is very low budget, and they're throwing everything at J.J. Abrams and his studio to go forward to the DC films. You know how much that's going to really not going to go so well? You know how much that literally is going to cause that fire deep and deep and deep, going down into the pit. And when that shit literally hits to the core, it's game over. And they're all going to be wondering, why are we doing what's going on? Why are our films are not doing our well? And I'm like, I'll tell you why they're not doing that well. I'll tell you why they are really tanking or underperforming, or no one gives a shoe shits about any of these films, because two main reasons. One, they're responding towards you and pretty much demanding their sequel, their push their agenda. And two, you cave into them once. So they think, oh, you cave into us, so therefore you're going to cave into me again, dumbass. And you're going to do that again. You're going to do that every single time. Once you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to get a glass of milk. And then after all that shit's done, he's going to be saying, I'm in control, bitch. That's how it's going to be going. You doomed yourself. You doomed yourself. Oh, dude, I totally agree. Fuck. Mario makes me... Oh, dude. Oh, I guarantee it. Dude, I guarantee if they did that shit. Oh, hey, man, how you doing, Anthony? How you going? But I'll just say, dude, the moment Secret Wars happens, it's game over. They're going to go panic mode. I remember the whole fiasco of 2012, and they were just jaw-dropping at Marvel and say, fuck, where's our Avengers? Oh, we didn't do any of that shit. Okay, let's get started. And they do it the worst way fucking possible. Oh, God. But here's the thing about that. I would be all for DC going to another studio. Like, for me, my best guess is DC goes to an independent or they get sold by fucking Sony. Personally, I would just be giving them money. Because imagine Sony doing a Batman movie. Imagine Sony doing a fucking Superman movie. And also, do another thing is they get to have exclusive games on the platform. So everyone wants to go play a Batman game. You got to go get a PlayStation to go play it. Kind of like what's going on with Spider-Man. You want to play that fucking Spider-Man game? Oh, got to go to PlayStation. Oh, man, I'm done. I'll be after that. But, I mean, there is a rumor going around. Granted, it's kind of dived down a little bit where it's not as common, but there is a rumor that AT&T wants to get rid of the comics and have another publisher go do them. Many people say, why don't we have Marvel do it? And I'm like, oh, okay, if we have Marvel do it, Oh, that is going to be so nice. In the worst way possible. Because guaranteed, yeah, you're going to have your crossovers. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. DC's going to have their own bullshit. Jim Lee is probably going to go back to being work for Marvel and probably going to do another X-Men run, guaranteed. But the facts are, you're going to have a lot of people who's working DC Comics working for a little bit of Marvel. And I'm having my theory that when DC goes to Marvel, Disney would want to have DC as a whole. And that will be the only thing I see that happening. If that is happening. If that is going to happen. Because if Disney gets DC, oh, it's game over. Literally, it's done. But yet again, I mean, I don't know what else to say this. It is already done by default. Because DC hasn't really done anything that's genuine fucking worth of shit. Yes, Shazam was great. Black Adam was going to be good if it's, let's just say, doesn't take the, it's showing the bad development. But besides that, Wonder Woman 84 sucked. Birds of Prey sucked. Aquaman and Shazam were the last good DC movies. And I'm only hoping that Shazam, Fear of the Gods, and Black Adam are really good. And also Aquaman 2 is really good too. Because honestly, I don't see anything else really working. And yeah. And I'm tired of caving into them. I'm tired of being that guy to where I'm caving into them every single damn time there's something that they do. Tired of it. Fucking tired of it. Because they don't care. They're throwing their agenda at you guys and you're responding to them. And you think you cave into me once, you're going to cave me again. And I'm like, it's 50-50 that it works. And if you're successful, you're going to do the same shit that the fans are looking forward to the other films, like the Matt Reeves Batman film and any other project that they're working on right now. And that's going to have their agenda to where we don't want Snyder anymore. You never win. Honestly, if you ask me, I would rather just reboot the entire franchise. The universe is so fucked, and the whole company is literally should be fired and rehire new people. That's how bad this is. We're talking about a studio has done such bad business of themselves, so bad that the fans like me don't even trust them. We would rather trust fucking Sony or Paramount or fucking Disney themselves to do a DC film. That's how bad it is. So I feel like a lot of people need to look at the bigger picture. And also, let's another thing go even further. How much of the actors want the money to come back? I'm sure Warner Brothers ain't have the funds to have the payday on the actors. I'm sure they don't have it. I really don't, especially Ben Affleck, especially him. It is what it is. I got nothing else to say. I mean, I really don't. It's at that point with the fans. They're blind and they're so dumb that they really are just pushing that agenda that they may not win. They always have to think, restore the Snyderverse. Is it going to get restored? No, it isn't. It isn't. Because of take that back, 3 or 4 multiple reasons. How much are you going to give the actors to play these characters? Are you going to do a comic book series in case the actors don't do it? Are you going to do an animated movie just to fill in that whole wish that we want a sequel to Justice League. We want a sequel to that film that we saw in HBO Max. Or do you just strictly just don't give two fucks and really just allow the fans bitch and moan, and then eventually they move on? And I'll say this right now. When Zack Snyder goes to Marvel, which that will day happen, I guarantee he will happen. Kevin Feige, woo, he knows exactly what to do if he gets Zack Snyder. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. That's another thing DC fans should be looking out on. Is Marvel going to get him? Let's say he gets Zack Snyder for Ghost Rider or Daredevil, because Zack Snyder is a big Daredevil fan. Wouldn't be surprised if they do it, because I heard a recent rumor that they're going to reboot Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Punisher to fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fucking correcting myself. The problem is a lot of DC fans don't see that. A lot of DC fans don't look at their options. They just say, restore the Snyderverse and expect it to happen. It is what it is. I rest my case. Final thoughts, all of you guys, if you want to comment. Oh yeah, dude, I could totally see him doing Midnight Suns with the supernatural levels. Yeah, I could see that. Bella, Anthony, are you there? If you are, please comment. Goddamn soda. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, do I want to see a sequel? Yeah, I do. But it's just the point stated. You're not going to get it because you're proving that agenda. Anyway. But yeah. I'll send the link down below in case you want to talk. All right. Apparently, there's a rumor going around that Kevin Feige is not too thrilled on the Eternals, which I don't know about that, but I mean, look, do you expect it to pretty much do anything? It's probably going to be very cosmic fucking movie. I don't know. I mean, got some. Yo, what's up, man?
Oh, hey.
What's up, man? It's just throwing in this shit. I mean, just literally like.
Yeah, for DC, it feels like a slow fall from grace or something like that. But it feels like it's been coming for years.
Oh, people said, even way back, people say it's like the last good one was Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. And I'm like, yeah, it is, because you had a consistency of just nonstop direction with that trilogy, and that whole thing is kind of gone, and we're seeing a massive, let's just say it, clusterfuck, bad business crap that really.
Like, one of the things I was thinking
really,
about,
I'm trying to you gotta get it like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the things I was thinking about was like, even their comics. Their comics are just so convoluted. I don't even know like what's going on. Like even years ago,
dude, that is like a whole. That whole thing is like it's its own problem. The problem with the comics, and this is something that I've told a couple of friends of mine. They cave into the people who only grew up in the older comics. And that's the problem that DC Comics has. Whenever they do something new and different, it always gets bitched at and shoved down our throats on, oh, it's bad. Why? Because it's different. It doesn't mean if it's bad because it's different, doesn't mean it can be a good story. It can be. It really can. A lot of stuff it could really do a great job. I mean, let's look back on Batman. He was a fucking Silver Age punkin little fluffy duffy crap, and when the Dark Knight returns and everything, that whole thing, they made Batman to be dark and gritty. They made him to be very much a character that's taken seriously. He was a little bit of a joke. Same thing with Aquaman. Same thing with a little bit of Green Lantern. Same thing with Superman. The biggest issue that people don't want to admit that they don't want change on comics. That's the problem. And it has happened with Marvel to an extent, but the problem with Marvel that DC fans don't get is Marvel always has been like, if it's going to be change, it's going to build up to the future for the characters, and fans don't want to see that direction. I do, because it has helped Iron Man, Spider-Man, and even other characters to be better. But the biggest issue with Marvel is they don't hold any legacy characters. There's only maybe one or two at least. And
but because they've been like creating like they have some legacy characters, but they're not really that type of, they're not DC. DC has like a bunch of them, but they never.
DC can do legacy characters, and that's the biggest awe factor of when I see Future State, I'm like, oh, we're gonna go back to square one with the whole legacy thing. Okay, all right, no problem. Everyone in their mother's grave went out of their fucking way to bitch and moan about it, and I'm like, why? What's wrong with it? Oh, it's trash. It did this. It did that. It did this. It did that. So. It's a new direction. What else do you want it to go? Oh, I want it to go into a family-friendly book. I want to have light hope. And I always say this. It's always a clutch with this light hope crap. And that's why I really, really hate light hope a lot of times in DC Comics. Because I feel like it's forced. And I feel like a lot of times it really just doesn't really give me anything. And in a lot of ways, they kind of get rid of everything that I liked about the New 52. The New 52 was supposed to be something interesting and bring something new life to the DC universe. They did that.
Yeah, the thing about the New 52 is originally it was going to be like, remember Marvel Now, how that was kind of like a reboot, but it's also a relaunch?
Yeah. That was
like the New 52. The New 52 was supposed to be something like that, and they were supposed to bring for the Justice League book, it was going to be the original 7 from I guess the 60s or something like that. With Martian Manhunter on the team instead of Cyborg.
Yeah.
And they were going to have they weren't going to get rid of some of the legacy characters. They were kind of going to give them their own books, like Wally West and Bart Allen and Wally's family were supposed to have a book called Speed Force and
I heard about that. I guess editorials changed all that stuff, which is unfortunate. But yet again, we got those characters back. But the problem is with that whole thing is now
Wally West got ruined.
You brought Wally back. Oh, he got ruined. And I blame Jeff Johns for doing that. I'm like, thanks, asshole. You brought this fucking character back. Now some dumbass writer named Tom King, who's done great books, but fucking unfortunately, he ruined a character that really makes zero sense. And I don't know why he stood by it. I mean, I would just rather just have something else. I mean, there could have been multiple ways to get around that loophole, but instead we just automatically just fuck everything. And that's the
another thing
that DC comes. Go on.
Yeah, another thing is the multiverse aspect. People ask for that. they ask for like multiverse to give them, different worlds where they can have their cake and eat it too. But the moment they get it, everyone kind of is like, why can't we just have one Earth? That type of mentality.
Well, yeah, again, yeah, that's the whole thing about. I mean, like, I feel like with that whole dilemma, I mean, you could do that, but yet again, I feel like if you're going to bring it, you would have to do a strictly whole new line of comic books just to do that. I mean, like, there's one universe of a DC universe I would love to explore. It's a universe to where it's a female Batman, a female Superman, a male Aquaman. I forgot the name of it. I don't know. Hold on, I'm gonna try to find it.
I remember that one.
I mean, I really was curious on it. I really am. I love Earth 2, the New 52 version out of it. I really like that a lot. But I mean, I really would like to see it. I mean, I really would like to see that universe be worms out of everything, and it's just they don't know what the fuck they're throwing at us on that whole thing. And I know a lot of DC fans are like, "Oh, just enjoy it." I'm like, I'm not really too thrilled. I mean, like, besides Batman and a few other books, I'm not really caring. Like, Titans, in my eyes, is fucking done. I really can't. I mean, like, I really, like, I feel like they done, yeah, it was a nostalgia goggles fucking shit, but I mean, I'm sorry, you couldn't tell me that what they were literally did to yours truly, and I mean yours truly fucking fucking what was his name? Wally and the Damian Wayne lineup. The Damian Wayne lineup really should have never ever. Oh yeah, I love the fact that they made the New 52 to be Earth 0. Thanks, asshole. I mean, like.
Oh wait, in Doomsday Clock, I remember seeing like an image of that online or something where it was like Earth 52, but also Earth 0. Like that's
New 52. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, I just found that fucking shit. Yeah, I mean, I'll share screens right now. All right, screens. Yes. Okay. All right. This is the thing I was talking about. And,
that.
Yeah, I wanted to see a comic book line out of this. But yet again, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do any of that.
Grant Morrison set all of that up, and they just ignored it for years. He even did it back when they did like New 52 and 06.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Like, I wanted to see something. I want to see that universe. I really do. I really want to see that universe. But yeah, again, we're not going to get that. We're not. I mean, DC had a lot of potential. It's the same thing a little bit in Marvel, but Marvel, they use their characters to an extent. They use them each way. It maybe not be the thing I want. Maybe an ongoing series of Thor or Thor Jane Foster series and give her a hammer. That would have been perfectly fine. But instead, we're not going to do any of that shit. I mean, like, the problem is, I mean, they're not going to do it.
And DC is wasted potential. DC is the word, wasted potential.
Oh, like, dude, and that's another thing, too. I'm like, if you want to play the fan service card, okay. Why does IDW and Boom Studios and Marvel, to an extent, do it so way better than DC Comics right now on the fan service? Like Eddie Brock as Venom. We knew eventually we're going to have it where he's going to get his symbiote back. Okay, we've done that. And then now we gave him a son. And literally one of the best runs, and God forbid, I hope they don't fuck it up after the current writer that we have now. God forbid we don't fuck it up. Because Marvel can literally throw shit and just literally ruined it in the worst way possible. and they have pissed me off. Like, for example, I loved the Hulk family because you evolve that character. When you look at his story and you see him where he's at that point where the Hulk, and I'm talking about the Hulk family, I'm talking about Red She-Hulk, A-Bomb, She-Hulk herself, Scar, and I believe Hulk's daughter, future daughter.
Oh yeah, the future daughter with like Tundra,
yeah,
something.
Yeah, she wears an armor-ish suit, and she had a mini series called The Hulks, and yeah, she was a great character, great character. But I mean, and that's another thing. Obadiah's Cho, when he became the Hulk, it was inevitable we were going to have him as the Hulk. I mean, we were going to get him as the Hulk, or have him become a Hulk character eventually.
I actually thought he was going to become Hercules or something.
Oh, really? Did you really thought that? Oh, wow! I didn't.
Yeah, I thought that because they had like him and Hercules kind of become friends in the 2000s and have a connection. Then you had Chaos War where they brought back dead characters.
Oh, that's true. But I mean, with Marvel, it's like it's much more like easier to go with. Now, granted, I may not be the fans on literally everything. Like I don't like the new X-Men run. I personally am not a big fan of it. I kind of avoided. Granted, it's got everything I want. Jean back to being with Scott, getting tongue-tied. Scott Summers is back to being a real leader and act like a character that I could actually see him as. And it's everything I want. It's just I wish more what I want. Go back to basics, have them struggle, the whole mutants and humans can
more traditionalist,
one another.
More traditionalist version of the X-Men. Because, you know, Grant Morrison and Hickman... Grant Morrison and Hickman, they do more of that, like, think out of the box weird stuff.
Yeah, which I'm not really a big fan of. I mean, like, I'm not really a big fan of the Hulk's direction, because now we are just... I feel like we are literally in a pickle hole with him, because now, like, okay. So you basically made him into a god, practically. And the leader's in control, and somehow the Hulk's trying to get out of it. That was the last time I was reading the Immortal Hulk book. I personally just feel like if we're going where I think we're going to go, to where, and they've been tiptoeing it around, because I'll use it for example, the Doc Green stuff. I remember that point where he had a beard and everyone was thinking, is he going to become Maestro? And that's what I instantly thinking, like, he's going to become Maestro. He's going to become Maestro. This is only the first phase. Nope. Secret Wars happened. And Secret Wars, I don't want to say this, like, it was everything that was a great event. It had great stories. And now on Marvel, it's just small events, or character events that only are around certain books, like Avengers, Thor, maybe Captain America, and Spider-Man, and the rest is history. In which I kind of wonder, and I scratch my head, I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. We're not going to do event comics anymore because Bendis and a few other writers left your company because your guys are too much stupid and really is dumb. But yet again, like, I give Marvel more the let it go. I mean, just do good books. I mean, that's all I give a fuck. With DC, it's like they don't know what they're doing. I mean, they rebooted their universe to get new people in. Now, what do we do? It's literally all over the place.
Post-Crisis was great until they kept, bringing everything they got rid of back over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember Zero Hour? Like Zero Hour, like Infinite Crisis, and it just kept going and bringing stuff back that they were supposed to, streamline and kind of get rid of.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, yet again, those are good stories, and I don't mind that. It's just like The problem is, and I feel like this is the issue, you're going to do it. Don't back out on it. Like, I mean, if you're going to reboot a universe, you don't go back on your word. That's why I always say a lot of the DC fans. And a lot of the DC fans respond to me and saying, DC had to go back where they belong. And I'm like, so playing the nostalgia out. And I literally ask them, okay, explain this to me. How come IDW and Boom Studios, two franchises, two comic book companies that have nostalgia books, even Dark Horse extend. Let's just throw them in there because they used to do Star Wars and Terminator. I think they still do Terminator. What else? They did Predator and Alien. They did all that crap with those books, along with Boom Studios with the Power Rangers books, and IDW with Ninja Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and they do it in a new, different direction, and it worked. Explain that to me. Why can't we do something new and different and be successful by doing that? Oh, I know why, because you don't want that. And they get all butthurt because of that. And they know that.
Yeah, the thing about DC is that if they were to actually, if they wanted the multiverse back so badly, they could do like a whole line of different books on different Earths. And then,
I mean, they could. I mean, they have the opportunity to do it. It's just the problem is, I just feel like they don't want to, they don't look at that. I feel like they are just looking at like what sells, and that's it. Let's do every Batman book known to man. Yeah. Let's do every little thing that we can with Batman. Let's do everything we can with a little bit of Superman. Give him a new direction. Give Wonder Woman a new direction. And then a Justice League book that people will buy, and they'll know what they're getting themselves into when they read it. And that's it. They don't do any of that stuff. And that's why I'm all into Future State, because it's all new and different. It's really great. And it's really awesome. And we're really enjoying it. And also, I mean, the only new thing about the newer comics of Superman is John Kent. I always say this, and my friend gets all, let's say he knows what I'm talking about. He gets a little, let's just say, a little bit butthurt, or a little bit like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, buddy. But every time I say it to other people, they get all butthurt on this whole thing. Take John Kent away. What do you have? You have an nostalgia book that you guys don't want to fucking literally say it. You just don't want to say it. You just don't want to say it. It's an nostalgia book that you guys liked. You did everything by the book to pretty much push your agenda to go back to the pre-52 continuity-ish. You got your wish. You got what you wanted.
They didn't even, and at the end of the day, they didn't even go back to pre-New 52. It was amalgamation of like pre-New 52 and New 52, and it kind of felt generous, but at the same time not.
And also, it felt sometimes it felt forced to an extent. So, I mean, like, granted, I give DC some credit on giving the Crime Syndicate a book. I mean, fuck it. If we're giving what's that one group that's out right now? That has in Marvel. That's basically the DC versions of the Justice League.
Squadron Supreme.
Yeah, they're doing the heroes. Yeah, they're pretty much having them to be the star of their own event in Heroes Reborn. So I thought, oh, okay, it's good to see the Crime Syndicate come back to have a book. It's kind of like their response towards Marvel's Squadron Supreme, which is great. And to be fair, I really wouldn't mind I can't even say it, Squadron Supreme movie, because, I mean, granted, you'll give that whole, Marvel's copying DC crap, because almost all of their origins are almost a cardboard copy of Justice League. I mean, you get what I mean?
Yeah, they made them because they didn't, like, they weren't teaming up to do crossovers like they kind of did when they did it in, like, the 70s and onwards, with DC. Well, so they had to, like, come up with
not just that, but it's also DC at the time where it's killing them was with the Justice League. because I'm pretty sure they realize like they're getting their asses killed on the sale. So fuck it, why don't we just respond towards them? Or they just made it to where, you know what, why don't we make our own Justice League? They're basically nothing more than cardboard copies, and they were villains. Yeah. They were villains of the Justice League. But I mean, the problem of not Justice League, the Avengers, fucking hell. But the problem is, it's just they just don't, like, DC. They don't know what they want to be in the comics. They don't want to which agenda which push that they want to go. Do you want to appeal to the older readers? Do you want to appeal to the newer readers? But pick your poison. You gotta commit, and that's the problem. Marvel's committing. They know what they're getting themselves into. They know for a fact, like, hey, you want Venom as this? You want to bring back Agent Venom? Okay, we'll do that. We'll bring that. We'll do this. We'll do that. I mean, Marvel's a lot better, but it's also a little bit shit to an extent. I mean, they have their shit books, but yet again, it comes and goes. And that's another thing. When people talk about the New Warriors, I was like, let me get this straight. We're bitching about a comic book that's going to last 6 months to a year, or even less than that. And
yeah, they were like a 90s team that they sold well in I think in the 90s for a while, and then they sold rebooted well and didn't really get that hype again.
Yeah, they never got that hype again because it was a one-trick pony and no one gave a shit about the New Warriors. And plus,
yeah, it's kind of
half
like
the team members, and half the team members got killed off. So,
oh yeah, Civil War.
Yeah, and Civil War. So I'm like, really, they got everything they way to get rid of them. So I mean, the problem is with that whole thing. It was like I really just see a lot of people either they're so bitter on whatever on Marvel's doing because of X, Y, and Z. They don't like the current direction, and I'm like, oh, because they're not caving into you. Good, they shouldn't. I mean, as much as
I don't think Marvel's ever really caving in to anyone. If you look at their history, they're always like looking after that new reader, new people.
Which is, to be fair, good business. The same thing goes to IDW and Image, and that's the thing. And I always talked about this with comic book fans, and they just don't want to take the L. They don't want to take the L because of their stupidity. And I really think that people need to start looking at that option, because you need to, like, I tell them this and I say, you need to look at where people like me and everyone else is going. I mean, yeah, you may not like this agenda, but it's a comic book company. They're always, and I in a podcast on someone and they say Marvel's too much political, and I'm like, they always have been political. Look at
Marvel's like counterculture. They're always that type of thing.
Yeah, but yet again, I was saying, like, so what? They've always been that way. Look at their history. And when I say this, they don't want to take the L, and that's the problem with DC fans. But yet again, I mean, like, to be fair, it's their funeral. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I had my piece with them. I really have. I mean, I just don't really care too much, and I feel like about the Snyder Cut and how everything is going, I really just. I'm not really caring too much. Like, if you had it my way, I would just rather just like animate a movie, a 2-part that finished Zack Snyder story, and Zack Snyder could be the director and have a good animation studio doing it. The rest is history. No one would say a word. You will have the hashtag stop.
If they wanted to please those fans, they could just make a comic, because comics are niche, but they do go to certain markets. So,
or that too. I mean, like, hell, fuck. If we could continue the Christopher Reeves and the Tim Burton Batman film, I mean, dude, it's like, why not do it? I mean, it's just, I feel like a lot of times, when you look at the comic book business, you see a lot of either bullshit on certain comic book companies, or just literally don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks. We're going to do what we want. Or they're going to do what they want on certain directions. Now, what I've heard on certain things, they weren't really sold on the War of Realms. You know, that Thor event? That was, you know, that War of Realms?
Yeah.
Thor, they weren't really sold by it. And I'm like, really? They weren't? That's kind of odd. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna wind this down and kind of end it. But I mean, I'm kind of tired of this trend of gotta respond to whatever Warner Brothers does. And did you saw the recent news on they released the fucking Joss Whedon version trailer and the HBO Max YouTube channel, and it got a shitload of dislikes.
Oh, I saw that meme. I heard it was a meme or something. There's a meme online about it.
And I'm like, dude, it just, I really kind of feel like with that, I'm like, you're just literally throwing your finger like, haha, we still win anyway. And it really kind of makes you just, yeah, I was pissed off to an extent, but yet again, I was like, I'm not caving into them anymore. I'm not. I'm so done with them. Like, look, I'm going to watch your movies, but I'm not going to support you anymore. And I feel like Warner Brothers, should I say, has got a massive problem. Unlike the comic books, you know, the comic books could do whatever the fuck they want to a certain degree. I mean, like, as much as I want them to go new readers, screw the older readers. In fact, I would just reintroduce Wally, the white version, and just still have the same stuff what we have.
Yeah, I would just get for like comics, I would just make, you know, the multiverse, get the multiverse map and make multiverse books for, you know, kind of try to please everyone, but also new people too.
Yeah, that's another thing too, and that's what I would want to go for. But I mean, the problem is, I mean, yeah, you know, the DC writers, they can only go so far when they have. But besides all that stuff, I mean, I really just feel like DC is really fucked themselves on the films department, because now we're in a pickle hole, and it's not going to do that well, because now you pretty much pushing this. You feed the beast that wanted this new direction, and now everyone wants a continuation. So what do? And that's the issue that they have.
Yeah, their movies are like complete wasted potential and complete failure in retrospect.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, but yet again, I only see the Rob Pattinson and Matt Reeves Batman movie only saving them for only a short time. I only see that like couple of years.
It's like Batman is the only thing that they keep constantly pumping out,
because they know he sells. They know. I mean, to be fair, you make your product that sells, and I agree with that. But I also agree, like, you should try to make your, let's say, characters that are going forward to making them do something really interesting, and have them be unknown characters. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how things go. I don't know what else I could say anymore. I mean, personally, I'm at a point with Warner Brothers, I just don't care anymore. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember back in like 2012 when Avengers came out, and then like you saw them, like people talking about, oh, is Warner Brothers going to do like a Justice League movie or build up to something like that, and you see them talking about it, and they remember the release date.
That was like, you should have done it. You should have had it. You had it like back in 2018. 2008. Correct myself. You should have had it every time.
Yeah, you had Justice League Mortal, but also you had that Wheel Bill Justice League script that was kind of convoluted, because it was, you know how Snyder's stuff went, his plan, it was that, but in one movie. That's what Wheel Bills was, with a bunch of different characters and time travel.
Yeah, I think it would have worked anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, yet again, it is what it is. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot. They really cave into this audience of now you gave us what we want. I want a glass of milk, and then after that, I'm in charge, and I decide what you make. And that's where Warner Brothers are in a massive pickle hole. And I don't know how much longer AT&T is going to literally just sit there, stand quiet, and stand by and just watch. Granted, it probably would be entertaining to them because they're watching the fireworks go off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised that Aquaman and a few other DC films get massively hurt by this.
Yeah, will Aquaman 2 ever come out? Like, I don't know.
It's going to come. It's in the works right now. It's in the works. They're going to start shooting in a couple of months. The problem is they, like, according to some people, and I mean according to some people, Warner Brothers really likes Anne Maher, and I'm like, oh God, you're just literally dooming yourself. So instead of not firing her as well as you did with Johnny Depp, which people know they forced Johnny Depp and they forced the rest of the cast members of or the crewmates of J.K. Rowling of the Fantastic Beast, pushing Johnny Depp to be fired, and they were successful. So now they're gonna do their own bullshit. It's just, I mean, I'm gonna say this: it's not gonna do that well. I'm gonna
It sounds like a future. Sounds like WB or DC is a future buyout. Yeah.
Oh wait, you think it's going to be a buyout? You think they're going to get bought? Oh man!
Could you imagine that? Like,
well, they already got bought. It's more like what else they're going to get bought?
Or like them selling it off or something. I
mean, AT&T owns Warner Brothers. They're in charge technically, but they don't want to have the drama. They could do it. Say, okay, all right, we had enough of you guys. We gave you a shot. You guys failed miserably. We're gonna continue what the fans want. We're gonna give Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, and going forward.
Yeah, and how much does how much does Disney have? Like, don't they have like 60 or 70% of everything?
I'm pretty sure they gotta save a lot of money. I mean, in my opinion, I think the next site of Disney to get bought is Sony. I really am saying that because
I heard about the Netflix deal thing.
Yeah,
I heard Netflix wants to buy Sony for extra content to make adaptations or something for their games.
Oh, really? Or I didn't know about that. That could actually, to be fair, that could actually fuck Sony on the Spider-Man shit because
that means if they're bought, Spider-Man just goes back to Marvel for free.
Yeah. It's like, oh, cool, we're back. We're all good. We got everything we want. I mean, and also another thing. Can you imagine all the salty fans of DC who really just feel like, God damn, Marvel has everything. They got all their characters. They got a fucking universe. They're doing the multiverse. Where's our shit?
I'm telling you, like when like they make Secret Wars or something like that, DC's gonna rush out a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie or something.
Oh, dude, I guarantee that probably will happen. I'm predicting this. They're gonna do a new Justice League, which I have heard they have interest of doing Justice League movies. But the difference is they're going to have it where it's going to be a black Superman, a new Wonder Woman, or you might have some actors come back, like you have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and have Ezra Miller and Aquaman and maybe Flash and Black Adam coming in with also a different Batman, a different Superman, and a few other different versions or literally characters.
They're gonna it's gonna be like a multiversal Justice League. I heard about that.
Which I'm like, okay, sounds great, to be fair, but yet again, that sounds like something I would want that to be in a Justice League 4 or 5.
Yeah, they didn't build up anything. That's the thing about them. They wasted all their time, like over the years, to ever compete with Marvel at
I
the
mean,
same time.
let's look at Marvel. You're guaranteed going to have the new Avengers. I mean, I'm predicting the members are going to be this: Ironheart, War Machine as the new Iron Man, because I wouldn't be too surprised if that's the case. Um, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Hulk or She Hulk, if they're going to use Hulk, because I think Hulk is going to be sidelined. Because let's all face facts, he was
He has a
literally,
Stimpy. He has like a Stimpy arm, doesn't he?
yeah, that also too. But it's also another thing. I feel like, and also another thing, I feel like he's going to get replaced by either Red Hulk or She Hulk.
I think they're doing that. They're doing that to Hulk because of Universal. That's pretty much what's going on.
Which another thing, it's like, couldn't they just buy Universal? Like, but yet again, they would have to
Buy the Hulk rights back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yet again, they would have to literally just do the opposite and just do like, oh, we're gonna do uh, something else, or have where the Hulk has a certain direction or whatever. I mean,
Like,
when
can
you're
they
talking
do
about
like
the Hulk,
Maestro and Gray Hulk or something, or is it too late
no,
to do that? I think it's too
no,
late.
I think it isn't. I think it isn't. I think there's still hope for it, but it's just the problem is, um, I feel like Maestro is more likely to happen because
Yeah,
the
because
games.
they missed their opportunity to do Gray Hulk in like a Hulk sequel or Avengers 2. And he was supposed to be in Avengers 2.
There were already, like, I heard there were footage of Grey Hulk
Oh
already in
yeah.
Avengers Age of Ultron, but they decided to just turn him green because audience wouldn't get it. I mean, yet again, I'm like, I saw one YouTuber about this, and I seen where this person bitch about Grey Hulk, and I'm like, you do know that's the first Hulk he appeared. I mean, you do know that, and plus, do you research that there's two different Hulks, and it's just, I really would like to see Grey Hulk, but yet again, I think more Maestro is more likely to happen. Maestro is a character where I think he would be best suited as a villain potential, and you would have to really change up the Hulk to a certain degree now because
Yeah,
the Hulk,
World War Hulk.
yeah,
I could see that with Maestro.
because apparently the Hulk has become very, let's say, piss poor development, and I
He's
blame that with
become
Universal.
mhm.
I blame that with Universal, but I also blame that with Marvel to an extent because they try to push it, but yet again, he became the action piece.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like Marvel just digged themselves in a hole on that character.
I
And
mean,
if you ask me, I would have killed him off. I really
the,
would. I mean, I really feel like he really doesn't contribute the team. He really doesn't do anything that really is
the thing
genuine
about
worth a shit.
yeah, the thing
Oh,
about that is that like for like Hulk in the movies, I guess they started pandering to the general audiences of we want to see Hulk smash. That's it. No Bruce Banner. I remember people saying that like they didn't want to see like mopey Bruce Banner, and then Marvel just I guess censored his character, which
No,
I
I
guess they
think no. It's not just that. It's not just that. It's more like, okay. I think what they saw in the first Hulk attempt is they saw a very dumbed down, stupid storyline. Yes, we get it. His father was an abuser, but you didn't have to make it where he was the villain. People like, at least to people like me, just wanted to see a guy where he has a curse, like he signed himself up to this gamma radiation crap. He protected a kid. Then later on, you have the military get the leader, and you go forward with that direction. They make the abomination. You tease leader as a main villain. You tease General Ross as Red Hulk because if you saw the deleted scenes, even a little bit of the movie, there were hints of what did General Ross wanted to do with the Hulk serum. he wanted to make pretty much a recreate of the Captain America, but in his vision. And that's where I would wanted to go with the Hulk sequels, where we introduce She-Hulk, we introduce Red Hulk, we introduce the leader, and we go forward. And I feel like we're going to do that in the end. But I mean, the biggest issue is, does it really matter? I mean, like, I feel like Marvel is playing catch up on certain characters like She-Hulk. I feel like she should have been introduced already. I feel like Red Hulk should be introduced already at this point. Beta Ray Bill,
when DC made the Suicide Squad movie, I thought Marvel was going to come out with like a Thunderbolts movie before that, or something like that.
There's talks of it. There's even talks of a Dark Avengers movie. And before the first Sony breakout, like the whole like Sony and Disney didn't work out a deal and all that stuff, and everyone's losing their shit, there were talks of having Norman Osborn.
And Far From Home.
Yeah,
and the end credits,
and that too, and it's also where he's forming the Dark Avengers, which that tells me where we're gonna get, and it makes me kind of feel like I really hope we get the Norman Osborn in the next couple of years, and once we do, we have him become the real Iron Patriot. I would like to see a 6-part story arc to where you have him show up in the Spider-Man films along with Harry and Gwen. I would have them to where Peter is going to college and then he meets up with this blonde woman, Gwen Stacy, along with Harry Osborn, and he finds out, oh yeah, Harry is the son of Norman Osborn, and Norman Osborn is a guy where he is a scientist, businessman, and is trying to buy out Stark Industries. And then when you have that, you have and it also connects to Armor Wars, and you have that whole massive story arc going forward to where Norman Osborn was helping What's-Her-Face, Agent Carter, to do her agenda, and we go forward with that direction.
And we go forward to like Siege. Remember that?
Yeah, we have where the villains were, and you have where once we do the Siege storyline, we have where Norman Osborn makes this political agenda to where Captain Marvel and the Avengers are a threat. They are no longer Earth's defenders because they allow this race. And they show a scroll. Imagine they show a scroll and they have it where he transforms, or he or she transforms into a human. Everyone would buy into it. And I'm like, oh my God, this would be perfect. This would be perfect. And, for me, I only see 2 choices of what I would want for Norman Osborn. Granted, hold on, I'm going to try to pull him up. Trying to, the actor who was in Interstellar?
Oh, you mean Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah. I would want him or hold on, I'm going to try to break him up. I think I could find him.
I remember when they were talking about that guy who played the governor character from The Walking Dead being Norman Osborn.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see that. Or him. Well, I'm gonna pull him up right now. He would be my pick. I mean, if you want to talk about strong main protagonist, this is my guy. He's a good actor. He played a really great villain, and he can play also a good guy and a good villain.
Oh, Michael Shannon.
Yeah. That would be my Norman Osborn. / Iron Patriot / Green Goblin. And
the one thing about oh, you can go.
No, I was just going saying.
Oh, the one thing I was thinking about, like the MCU, when they were doing Civil War or announced that, I was like, oh wait, you can't do that yet. You haven't done Disassembled and something like House of M.
No, I'm like they could do something really great to where
Mm-hmm.
at first I'm like thinking like maybe they're trying to change the story, maybe they're trying to change it to where something it could be great on something literally different. I
Mm-hmm.
really think now is like it would be a good time to do that direction. Like,
Yeah,
okay, we did that whole.
they could have done that like for phase 4, 5, and 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like disassembled, House of
Yeah,
M.
I agree, but I
Um,
mean, yet again, like I feel like that's the whole thing. I'm like, I'm like, for people that are not really big fans of those stories,
mhm.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't because I'm like, okay, now you could do disassemble for a right reason, like have
Yeah,
where they disassembled because Wanda, not Wanda, yeah, Wanda became a villain, and you can go forward, which they still could. They could
mhm.
still do it. The biggest issue now is like, when are they going to do it? And that's another thing. When are they going to do the X-Men? That's their biggest another thing. It's like, and also another
Is
thing
that going to
before I
be
go any
phase
further.
5? Phase
Oh yeah, there are.
5,
There is.
maybe?
No, they're going to do Phase 5. It's just more like when's going to happen. That's the thing.
Because I can see phase.
My
I can see. Hmm?
what going on? You were saying something?
Oh, I can see phase 4, 5, and 6 building up to Secret Wars. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
yeah, definitely. The Secret Wars is definitely going to be the next
and
big
then
thing.
in
But I
this
mean,
like phase, in the like 3 phases of 4, 5, and 6, in there you can have
I
like
think
prestige.
personally they're going to like if I would like granted. Oh yeah, definitely. But if I had it my way, I would stretch that to be Phase 10. Um,
Oh yeah,
that's what
play the long game.
because I'm like I want to stretch I want to have the TV shows a little bit like have Miss Marvel 5 seasons, have the multiverse go to season 10 or whatever, and you have other shows. You do a sequel series like say the Scarlet Witch and uh, Disney Plus show. You have fucking other shows, other
Yeah,
characters. You do
that's the thing
you
about
do the X-Men character. You do the X-Men characters. You go forward to where you have Kitty Pryde has her own show. You have Spider-Man appear his own show. Maybe Spidey, and it's kind of like a found footage Spider-Man show. And you have it where Spider, and it's literally almost so real that I'm like, oh my god, we're in the action with him. We're in the. It's not like a movie where we're literally seeing it and great visuals and all that stuff. We're seeing a raw, found footage superhero Spider-Man show, and I really would like to see something like that. Now, for me as a Spider-Man fan, what they're gonna do with Spider-Man? We're gonna have to have him face Green Goblin. We're gonna have him face other characters. We got to do that.
yeah, if they get the full rights back, they can kind of do the
I mean,
character.
if they do that, I mean, my biggest concern on that is like, are they going to continue like a continuation on Spider Verse? That's my biggest wonder. Because I mean, I really hope they do.
If
Because
it's super well received, I think they might.
just put that in HBO, not HBO. Put it on a Disney Plus show. I mean, I think that would be perfect. Um, because I mean, granted, Venom. I'm like, I think personally, after Let There Be Carnage, which is going to be Venom versus Carnage, I think really I would be just satisfied and really don't care where they go
Yeah,
next.
they would probably cancel that series if they got the rights back or something.
I mean, but yet again, I'm like, I don't think they're ever going to do Venom. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I
Because it's
don't
been
see.
done to death. Venom has been done to death.
But yet again, he works. He sells. He's basically like
Mm-hmm.
he is like. I mean, Venom and Spider Man are like the most top seller books.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
they're like the counterparts of each other, the evil doppelganger thing.
yeah, exactly. But it's just the problem is like I just don't know how not Sony. I don't know how Disney would do Venom. That's the biggest question mark.
Would they go like Ultimate, or would they go 616, or would they do Agent
Yeah, and
Venom?
that's another thing too. I'm like, are they going to bring that version into that version into the MCU? Is it those movies are canon to the MCU? Like that's the whole thing, because now they're having this partnership, and that partnership could get ruined because you're telling me Netflix could buy them out.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Because Netflix wants Sony's like they want their games to be made into movies, apparently. Like they want to do that like Last of Us movie. I mean show, series or movie.
Oh,
they want
dude,
to do
can you imagine? Like, can you imagine that shit goes into Netflix as well? I mean, dude. I mean, like, I'm just literally thinking, like, they're putting that on HBO Max. But if that got stripped and thrown into Netflix, the firecrackers would go off.
Yeah.
I mean that says a lot. I mean, and also another thing, like Sony, like I wouldn't like. Granted, I would be happy at one point, but I also would be concerned because I'm like, oh God, are they gonna do God of War? Because I'm hoping they don't do it. They don't fuck it up.
Yeah, Netflix would do something very cheap. That's what they would
like.
do.
Can you imagine them doing an animated series? I mean, like, because they are done such good job on the animation. God almighty.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude. I mean, could you the Castlevania? I mean, hell, the recent animation show called The Blood of Zeus.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Great show, great stuff. It's very quick. Like a lot of characters got neutered to go the good side for some bullshit reason. But yet again, you also kind of feel like when you get to Zeus's wife and Zeus as a character and everything between them, like, God damn, Zeus is a fucking bitch. I mean, shit, for crying out loud. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if it goes that way, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm hoping, let's say it does. I'm hoping it does pan out. I mean, granted, I would be more happy just literally partying up because we got everybody. I mean, we got everybody in a 10 or 20 years.
We would have everyone. We would have everyone except maybe the Hulk, maybe Namor. I don't know how that works.
I think Namor could be easy, or Hulk. I feel like Hulk is just like, yet again, I'm like, I blame Marvel and I blame Universal to an extent on him because I really do love. I love the Hulk.
Secret.
Go on.
Yeah, the secret behind that feud is that before Disney bought Marvel.
Yeah.
They promised Universal or Paramount or Universal would buy them, but then when they heard that, Disney was buying Marvel, they kind of just stepped away, and then they had this feud about, Paramount was disputing, the Iron Man movies and stuff like that, and Disney bought all of the rights back from that so that they wouldn't distribute them anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Which kind of killed a lot of the other shows like Sony's Spectacular Spider-Man, which, to be fair, I wasn't really a huge fan on that show. I mean, I know there's a big fan base on that show, but I really feel like, no disrespect to anyone who likes that show, but I just feel like it wasn't the right show. I feel like the right show I would have want. In my vision of Spider-Man, I would want a Spider-Man show like the 2017 Spider-Man, but done a lot better because
with more money, more budget,
more money, and better storytelling and better animation style. Because I mean, I grew up with the '90s, and yes, you're gonna have that biased '90s kid criticizing the Spectacular. And also another thing, I feel like they took too much on notes on the Sam Raimi trilogy a lot.
Oh
And
yeah, I remember there was like some scenes in there where the train scene. Remember that was like the
that one, and
movie.
also the black suit design. It's very much representing the Spider-Man 3 black suit whole thing. I'm not a. And granted, maybe I'm too much not a big fan. Look, I like Sam Raimi. I own this the Sam Raimi trilogy, but I just don't see it really be the be all end all of everything. Like if
Yeah,
you
that
ask me,
fan base kind of turned me off on it.
oh
Like
dude,
Spider-Man in
I mean,
general.
like them, I knowing them, they would be super butthurt. They would be super butthurt because they know they don't have a Spider-Man anymore. They're gonna have the Spider-Man the whole MCU Spider-Man.
Oh
They
yeah,
and
and then MCU would have, if they had the rights back, they would have to course correct Spider-Man to more of the traditional.
you
You
know,
know,
that I feel like that needs to happen because let's all face facts. I feel like here's the problem with the MCU Spider-Man. My biggest gripe on it: no Harry, no Mary Jane proper,
no
no
Bugle.
no Uncle Ben, and yeah, that too. No
Oh,
Bugle.
Avi Arad made them take that stuff out.
Yeah,
Apparently.
I know. And I'm like, the moment I heard that, I'm like, not a surprise. That fat fuck literally took that shit. I mean, like, I'm like, I mean, granted, everyone wants to blame Disney. Everyone wants to have Disney as the bad guy, and I'm like,
Yeah, and then everyone wants to blame Kevin Feige for stuff that probably isn't even in his control.
no, dude, I'm like, that's the thing. I mean, like, people don't want to look at the financials, and this kind of goes a little bit of the Snyderverse to an extent. Like, people don't want to look at like, do the actors want to come back? Do this want to come back? I mean, like, that's the whole thing. But I mean, yeah, I mean, the problem is you just see a lot of the shit, and you just, yeah. So yeah, I agree. They would have to. They would have to course correct everything. They would have to mention. Hell, I would even do a prequel show just on the whole thing of what happened, Uncle Ben. Did he? Is that whole theory of did he die during the events of Iron Man 2 when that whole Stark party going on in the
Yeah,
final
Spider-Man would be like 10 years old, 10 or 9 when that happened.
yeah, and to be fair, they said that's canon because
Oh,
they said that shit. I'm like, granted, I'm like going on their word, like they would have to do all that stuff. They or even have it where we do the first time, like a first like series, like 6 episode or 9 episode series of first time the origin story of Peter Parker in the MCU, and we explained where, oh yeah, Peter, he had the Spider-Man powers, but Uncle Ben died during the time period of the fucking hammer drones, and Peter looked at Iron Man as like a second father figure. Which, to be fair, that would be a little realistic to a certain degree to some people. Some people, when you love so much, when you look at an idol so much, you pretty much look at them as like a family member. I mean, I've seen that a lot with like wrestlers and football players, and it really kind of gives you that feeling. I mean, that's I would want it to go. But I mean, yet again, I mean, that's it. We'll have
like
to wait.
the college trilogy would probably be your course correct, because then you can bring in like the original Mary Jane and Gwen
Oh,
Stacy.
you know what I want to marry Jane, but yet again, I'm like, I really would love it where she's Jean Grey. Hold on, I'm gonna get her.
Oh,
Shit.
you mean Sophie Turner?
No, not her. It's somebody else. I don't know if you've seen her. She was in the Arrowverse, but also in a another good show. Sadly, got canceled. I forgot. I can't even say her last name right. Hold on, I'm gonna put her in there. Granted, I saw someone say she should be Mary Jane, and seeing her, I'm like, oh God, she would be perfect. That actress. I'm like, go watch Shadowhunters. Go watch any other show that she was a part of. Absolutely perfection. I mean, I could totally buy her as Mary Jane, and I could totally buy her as that. Let's just say that party girl / love of Peter's life to a certain degree. And also, I would also want to have Gwen Stacy come in as well. But I mean, man,
I hope they don't. Like, what are they gonna do with Gwen Stacy? Are they gonna do Ultimate? Or are they gonna do 616 or Spider-Man?
I would have it where you do Ultimate and you do it for a good reason. You have her become Spider-Gwen. And because I mean, she's a rocker, and I'm like thinking that would be a good fitting for that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Would she get her powers like how she did in Spider-Gwen, or would she
I would have it where you do Spider Island.
Yeah.
And have you heard of the show called Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
Oh yeah, I remember that lady.
That actress. Yeah, the main actress of that show. There's even a fan-made drawing of that actress as Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen. And I'm like, if only that was true. Oh, God, I would be done. I mean, granted, I know Haley Steinfeld play a phenomenal version, and granted, I wouldn't mind her I wouldn't mind seeing her play that character again, but she's going to be playing Kate Bishop, and I'm like, it's kind of hard to an extent, because I'm like man, I wouldn't mind seeing her, but I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing just the whole direction on the one and only the actress that we want. See, but I mean,
yeah, and I heard about they want to do a third trilogy where Spider-Man's like, I guess, a postgraduate or an adult, something like that.
Yeah, that's the proper way. Well, you need to have like 6 or 9 films of solo Spider-Man films to have where you slowly go to where we push it to Miles and do whatever you need. I think
your fourth trilogy could be his career phase where he's like, like a teacher or something like that, or
I could totally see it. I could totally see that. I could totally see that happening.
And then he retires and then Miles could take over, I guess.
Yeah, and you can go forward from there. And if you want to do, let's say, Peter's daughter or Peter's son, which they could do, and with that, the whole legacy direction. I mean, granted, I wouldn't mind that, but I mean, it was like 12
movies.
I mean, yeah, exactly, kind of like that whole direction. But it's just the problem is, I don't know if they're going to do that direction. I don't know if they're going to do that direction because they would want to do something drastically going forward, something new and different, which I really hope they do that Spider-Man character fully. Because, I mean, their whole
this is their only chance to do it kind of right in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And also another thing, I said it to myself, and I said it to a lot of those fucking Sam Raimi fanboys. Sorry, guys. No offense to you, but I mean, the Sony fanboys literally saying, "Oh, if Peter," I said the whole of if Tobey Maguire's version, it was Uncle Ben, which there were talks of hey, why don't we have Tobey Maguire's version to be Andrew Garfield's Uncle Ben? And I'm thinking that would be a good way of doing it. It would be kind of like a passing of the torch. But yet again, it would also bring a lot of drama to a certain degree. And, I kind of feel like we missed that. Yeah. Because, I mean, you would have where there's that tension going in. Granted, I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, and also another thing, I feel like Spider-Verse needs to be a 2-part film which there are 2 movies that Spider-Man is contract going forward. Like the last 2 movies is Spider-Man 3 and maybe Spider-Man 4 if they really want to turn that into a Spider-Man 4 and stretch the Spider-Verse into 2 films, which I really feel like they should, because I don't think like you can do a Spider-Verse film in 1 movie. Granted, this is Marvel; they could do it whatever. But
at
I mean,
this
we'll
point,
see.
it's like Tom Holland Spider-Man could have so many Spider-Man films, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like,
and also another thing too. I mean, like, granted, I know the actor said like I don't want to keep doing this like in my 30s, but I'm like, I look at him like, why not? I mean, are you gonna get it? Like, you're gonna keep consistently having that paycheck. I mean,
yeah, and it's like,
if I were you, I would shut up and I would.
Yeah, it's like the Robert Downey Jr. Thing where he kind of says, "Oh, I'm done with Iron Man right now." Then he comes back, and he's like, "I'm done." Then he comes back, and I heard he might come back.
He's like, dude, like I remember he said that shit during Age of Ultron, and then they.
Oh, he said that Iron Man 3.
oh yeah, that too. But yet again, I heard he got a shitload of money in almost every single film. It's like,
oh yeah,
dude, he was getting way more money than all the actors combined. And I'm like, oh my god, he is the again. He's their little. He was their poster boy. He was their guy. He was their face to a degree. And I still argue the next face would be Spider-Man because
it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to agree, I feel like that's the only way to do it, because you would have to do like you would keep if I was Kevin Feige, keep your actor there, because people want to have a long-term Spider-Man, because we got fucked over not once but twice of a potential long-term Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it affected the fandom in a negative way, I believe.
Yeah, it did, because it really kind of brings that whole like, oh, he wasn't really good, and then that whole like, oh, I like this better and that better, and then you get that whole fucking
and that quote where it's like, oh, it's a good Spider-Man movie. I mean, it's a good movie, but not a good Spider-Man movie. You know?
No, dude, there are so many times I roll my eyes like, oh, he's an Iron Man Jr. Yeah. Wow.
Like, how can there be an Iron Man Jr. if there wasn't an like original Iron Boy Senior or something?
The only thing I could give off the credit to them is to where, yeah, he didn't make his costume. Yes, he has literally everything right in front of him. Everything that he could ask for.
And it's Sony's fault.
A little bit more.
And it's Sony and Avi Arad's fault.
Oh, yeah, to a certain degree, they kind of screw themselves to put into where, okay, we caved in now. But the problem is, like, with the whole thing of, like, just kind of going forward to what I was saying, like, I can agree with the criticism on, like, yes, he was very much catering to Tony Stark, or he was caving into Tony Stark like a father figure, which, to be fair, I was enjoying every minute of it. I mean, granted, people say, you're too much of an Iron Man fanboy. He's supposed to like Uncle Ben. But yet I would say, yeah, you guys asked for it. You guys wanted this to happen. You guys asked for it.
I remember when Spider-Man was supposed to the talks about him coming into the MCU. Everyone, everything everyone said about, oh, he needs web shooters, he needs to make them himself. We need him to be pre-established and already Spider-Man. And
also no love interest, no Uncle Ben. Every bit of that happened, and it's like, gee, I really, really wonder who's to blame for that. You asked for it, Marvel listened, and that's it. I mean, honestly, personally, if you ask me, all I wanted was have where he looked up to Tony Stark, he lost Uncle Ben, and he has a love interest with Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane. whichever that would have been fine, and would have been a long-term actor that stuck on for 20 years practically of this character. And I mean, granted, I know the actor, looking at his side, he doesn't want to be that guy where, let's all face facts, look at Mark Hamill and the actor who plays Harry Potter.
Yeah.
They're kind of typecast. They're kind of screwed of their own career because they've been playing that character that they played over the years. Granted, Mark Hamill has been like better known as a voice actor, but it's just he didn't have a lot more bigger career after Star Wars.
The superhero and the legendary like type of character has kind of ruined, actor popularity, stardom type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, to be fair, I feel like it's a gift and a curse. I feel like the only actors I feel like they really kind of like they're so big is The Rock,
Tom Cruise,
that too, and Ryan Reynolds to an extent.
Yeah,
I mean, like those actors. I mean, personally, if you ask me, I think Deadpool is going to be here for a long time. I would be predicting like next couple of movies. Don't be surprised, Sony or even Marvel decides to where let's have Spider-Man and Deadpool in a movie together. I mean, that would be hilarious. And it would be like a rated R film, or just make two different cuts. One rated R. Or series, yeah, that too. And we have where like Deadpool cusses a few words. Because they have cuss to, or even show the finger. So I'm like, they kind of show like the swearing to a certain limit. I think they could do a good job with Deadpool in the swearing department.
Yeah, the only problem I have with like the MCU, since kind of like not really day one, but whenever they like made Thor onwards, is that like they have to like change these characters for like general audiences to the point where some of their characterization is gone.
I could agree with, but also I feel like, and this is my kind of cup of tea, like I feel like they kind of have to. Because let's look at the Eternals. The Eternals are almost godlike beings.
Oh, yeah.
They have to make them human. They have to make them almost so human, it's not funny. So it's going to be very hard for, like, if in better words, they have to make them relatable to a certain degree to get that audience. If they don't, you fail. That's it. That's just how
that's true.
I mean, like, and granted, I agree with Thor to a certain degree. Now, what I wanted Thor to be, I wanted Thor to go, let's just do the Journey to Mystery 83 storyline, and the rest is fucking history. I mean, we have it where Donald Blake is the one who pretty much takes care of people. He's a doctor, and then later on he eventually finds the stick and it transforms into Thor, and the rest is history from there. You would have had
I remember doesn't he exist, Donald Blake exist in the MCU as like
no, it was just name dropped. It was just name drop fan service.
So he doesn't exist? Because I remember them saying something that it's her ex or something like that as like a
no. The only Donald Blake scenario where they in the first Thor movie there was a moment where one of Jane Foster's friends pretty much got Thor in the SHIELD base. Thor was trying to get his hammer back and he couldn't get it.
Oh yeah, so, the ID.
Yeah, and he had the ID effect. The ID, that was the only thing. And everyone was thinking, they're going to introduce Donald Blake later. No, turns out no. And that's another thing. Like, the biggest problem with the Thor movies, first two really are not very good Thor movies. They're okay. They're okay movies in general, and also okay movies in MCU. You can enjoy them, and they're in the middle. I mean, they're run the middle average MCU films, and that's sometimes the formulaic of their films. I feel like Black Panther was that, Captain Marvel was that, but granted, Captain Marvel had so many issues. I feel like I was very kind to that film because
didn't like the directors have fights on set or something like that?
Yeah, they had arguments in which, granted, I give off Brie Larson's opinions. I'm sure she's a cool person to talk to, and she's just a person that has her opinions, and I feel like people need to get off on her. I mean, really, she has her opinions. We could say the same thing to us. That's another thing. And I feel like some people just need to just kind of get off the bandwagon of, oh, it's Brie Larson, let's hate her, X, Y, and Z crap, because we all got
rage content.
And also got butthurt because more, not rage content, butthurt content. That's all I see. Butthurt. I'm like, oh, let me get this straight. She said something that you got fucking upset about. Butthurt. Because she said something that's so true, and you don't want to fucking admit it that she's right. Or she doesn't want to accept it, or you don't want to accept the fact that maybe she's right to a certain degree, or you can't stand her opinion, whatever. It's so petty and bullshit. I feel like a lot of times it's just bullshit.
Was Marvel in that movie?
Yeah, he was. He was the fucking.
Was he Jude Law?
I think he was.
I thought Jude Law was like young Rog or something.
Oh, I'm gonna look. I am assuming he was. I mean, like, granted, the movie literally changed so many fucking. What villain is this movie supposed to be? Supposed to be a Marvel movie? Was it supposed to be?
I think it was supposed to be like. I think it was supposed to be like. A little bit of that Green Lantern format where Marvel would land and then Carol would take care of him and he'll pass the power to her and teach her before he dies or something.
Oh, no, actually, no, that wasn't Marvel. I looked up the character. It's this guy. Oh, I'm going to post it right now.
Oh, yeah, young Rog or I forgot the name.
Apparently, he's based on this character.
Oh yeah, young Rog.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thought he was Marvel. I assumed he was Marvel. Yeah,
because look, he has like the white hair in that like one deleted scene or something, like as if he was Marvel or something.
And also another thing is like going even further. I thought like the way they were tensioned between them, like thinking, are they a couple?
Yeah.
I mean, like, did they merge Marvel with this character? Because sometimes they do that with Marvel.
I think they did.
But yet again, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they add Marvel in it. I mean,
I think Marvel was the woman.
No. This is Marvel, but I mean,
yeah.
Granted, I mean, like, she was there, but I mean, yet again, she's in the Eternals film, I think. Yeah.
She was. And, is she supposed to be like the same type of character?
People have that theory. Yeah, it could be. But I mean, yet again, I'm like, I'll just say this. I mean, for me, I'll just say this: no one would take seriously on that character. You got a gigantic fucking head, and here's the concept art. Fucking shit.
Oh, that's who she was. She was the Supreme Intelligence or something.
Yeah. I'm like, can you take seriously on a big gigantic fucking head? I mean, granted,
I thought they were gonna just make it like an AI projection or something. You know what I'm saying?
That would have been a little bit crazy, but I could actually buy that. I mean, granted, I mean, I feel like they would have done a little bit better. I mean, the biggest problem. Oh God, my soul's literally starting. I'm done. I'm fucking done. I'm done. Oh shit. The memes would, the memes would do that. They would fucking throw the shark. Oh, great! It's Shrek's head. Holy cow! Shrek. Holy shit! The Captain Marvel chopped off Shrek's head and threw him in the. Oh God, we gotta find. No, actually, I gotta find that picture right now. Oh my God, I can't believe I just. Oh, dude.
Oh, there it is.
Where?
Oh, right up.
Oh, no, see, oh my God, I gotta stay there. Oh my God, holy cow! Like, I mean, no, dude. And this is the whole response. Do you really think people would take people seriously. I mean, I think that was a good move. What they did. I mean, the
Yeah, they made
problem.
it a person.
Yeah, they made it into a person. I mean, would you rather have the meme be this? Would you rather have that? No.
No,
It would
no.
be embarrassing. I'm happy that they did that. I'm happy that they have
I'm
like
glad they made it a person, but I would have been. You know how the MCU is about like technology. I would have made
yeah,
it just like an AI screen or something, like an AI, a
super,
human-looking AI head. That's
super
screen.
intelligence AI. I could totally buy that. But I mean, like my whole thing with the MCU Marvel is like, okay, I would have liked it to be certain characters the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
I would have wanted to have where we go forward to where uh, Carol Danvers, let's say Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, we
Mm-hmm.
have her do her story, then just have where either we have her be the face of future MCU films, which they are going to do, or we have it where we go forward to push her into a character that's like an Ant-Man or a Black Panther, where they'll be there, but
Oh yeah,
overall,
supporting characters.
yeah, supporting
People have
character.
been saying that she's gonna get like Rogue is gonna take her powers like the comics,
I
and
don't
she'll
like,
just be in a
and that's another thing. And that's another thing too. I don't want that because that would
X
just
Men.
kind of literally appeal to the let's get rid of Brie Larson type crap, which I'm like, that's the
You
only.
could have
That's the only.
Monica. Are they setting her up to be like
Yeah,
the next?
they already have her where I wouldn't be surprised she gets her powers, and plus they're already heading towards that direction anyway. So I mean, like, why the hell not? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, and another thing, the Young Avengers and Champions or something.
I would
I
just keep
remember
it
the Young
like
Avengers.
just smash the just merge the Young Avengers and Champions together, and just literally go forward from there. I mean,
Yeah,
like the biggest
but how are
issue,
they
like
going to explain? How are they going to explain Hulkling's origin without Marvel as his father?
oh yeah, that's true.
So is
I don't know.
Marvel going to be some guy out there, or are they just going to wipe him
Ignore
clean
him.
as if he didn't exist?
I think they're gonna either they're gonna have to change his origin to an extent.
Hmm.
Um, they're gonna have to change his origin to an extent because I actually seen that a lot. Like, I mean, for example, the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver's origin, where
Oh
they're
yeah,
they're
their
drastically.
parents. Yeah, their parents originally were like the Wizard and Miss America, which they haven't introduced them at all, or the Invaders. So,
Which I think they're just going to go back to changing them back to being mutants again. Um,
oh, I don't know about that. Like, I don't. I kind of don't want them to be mutants now. I kind of just want them to be, I don't know, their own thing, I guess. Now.
yeah, you're just at that point. I just don't care, which I can
Yeah,
understand. That. I can totally understand that. Totally. I
because their
mean,
origin has changed so much that I'm like, why did they even change it to be Magneto in the first place? Like, whose idea was it to retcon that, Wizard and Miss America weren't their parents? Which, hmm,
I feel like it is so well known towards that, and I feel
yeah,
like that they really gonna have to do that. The problem is, I feel like with most people, and this is the issue I have with the biggest issue on
X-Men
Marvel,
fans.
yeah, MCU fans, especially them. They don't tend to see the issues of Marvel's fuck ups, like the Mandarin fucking issue, how they falsely
You could have. Someone told me you could have solved that if you made Aldrich Killian, the guy who was behind the Mandarin, if you made him Asian. Someone
yeah,
said if you did that, that would have maybe have solved the problem.
it would have somewhat damaged control on that. The
Yeah.
issue is you gave us the epitome of the Mandarin.
Hmm.
Um, you have it where he has the 10 rings. You have it where he's wearing the Asian type uh, uh, robes of Japan, and
Hmm.
now you're literally doing that again with this new character on Shang-Chi. But the issue is now it's like, are you going to do that character of what we think he is? Are you going to bring the rings in? Are you going to bring in every little thing? Because I'll say this. The actor who played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3,
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley. Yeah, thanks for correcting me. I was really liking him. I really thought like I couldn't pick a better casting choice. He plays a great villain. He could be that villain for the Mandarin.
The trailers really made you feel like, oh, this is
dude, yeah, exactly. I was just about to get in there. The trailer gave you that essence of what you think the Mandarin is, and you were so sucked into it. And then when it's like, oh, I'm just an actor. I'm like, I remember watching that on bootleg because it came out on April, and we saw it on bootleg version. It was a good quality version. It was good quality, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm glad I did not pay to see this movie. Oh, I would have been super angry as fuck.
My relatives. I remember the family or something like that all went to go see that movie. And I was the only one like, no, this has to be like a joke or something. Because I was the comic book fan of Marvel, And I was like, wow, they really just did that, like.
And Kevin Feige kind of regrets it because he kind of I think he knows he fucked up. I think he knows.
The thing about the MCU is that you can't really give anyone too much power over it. It has to be a like collaborative.
Yeah, it has to be like, and also another thing is like I feel like here was the issue of Iron Man 3. I feel like they gave into where the original director who did the first two Iron Man films, Jon Favreau, couldn't do Iron Man 3. He wanted to do Iron Man 3 during 2012. He didn't,
yeah.
He didn't have enough time. Therefore, he left because he couldn't have enough time.
It's not only that, it's the Iron Man 2, the whole subplot of him dying.
Yeah.
That was just supposed to be Demon in a bottle, but Ike Perlmutter wouldn't let them do that because they thought, Robert Downey Jr. would relapse back to alcoholism.
I don't know about that. I mean, like, you could just change the fucking alcohol.
I mean, they changed it to the.
I mean, couldn't they just change the alcohol issue? Like, I mean, the whole thing where him drinking, like, the whole issue of like just have him drink tea, and have Robert Downey Jr. act like he's drunk as fuck. I mean, like, couldn't they just do that? I mean, there are ways you could have actors literally portray it as like he's drunk as hell and not have the actor be drunk. It's like kind of like the same thing towards drugs. If a character is doing, let's say, heroin or smoking coke or whatever, or even alcohol, have it to be different, where it's not literally what everyone thinks it is. Like, have a believable factor of have it to be something else, but you believe it's heroin or whatever. And there are ways to do it. But the issue is studios, like you said, studios were just too scared to do it. And
it's too much of a risk.
I mean, like, I can agree with it to a certain degree on their end, but the biggest issue in my end, like on my problem with the issue of, and this is my issue of the whole thing of Iron Man 2, is they couldn't do the whole thing of who is it going to be? Justin Hammer is the main villain, or is it going to be Whiplash? That was the issue I have.
Whiplash was like a convoluted. They mashed like Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo into one character.
Oh yeah, that too, which really was disappointing. I mean, like
the game did that subplot better.
Granted, they're going to do Crimson Dynamo. And also another thing is, I feel like they're going to do Armor Wars, and they're going to bring Crimson Dynamo and Titanium Man in that show. They're gonna have to, because
they're gonna have to do.
That's the only thing I could. Because
and Justin Hammer,
knowing, Justin Hammer too. They're gonna have to bring him back.
He's been in prison for 10 years in the timeline of the MCU now.
Yeah, that's another thing too. They're gonna have to explain oh god, what's Idiot Boy literally doing, and they're gonna have to explain what has he done and how is he getting all the Stark technology, all this stuff, and they're gonna have to loop. And also another thing is, people say Agent Carter is setting up the reason Armor Wars to happen, all that stuff, which is, I could see that. And granted, War Machine has to be the main focus. He has to become the new Iron Man eventually. That's another thing too. I really think that they're going to do the same type of themes.
I hope people don't freak out about that, because in the comics, he became Iron Man,
because of Tony's alcohol issues.
Yeah.
Granted, it worked a lot great. And another time is when Tony couldn't become Iron Man, he was there. And that was the thing I love about the Iron Man comics. It was a very much it wasn't forced. It was just granted, it came out on the right timing because we didn't have the internet. And
it was natural progression.
Yeah, natural progression, which I'm oh, boy, I'm kind of glad I didn't have that whole fiasco of not my Captain America and all that crap.
Yeah, post, the internet post 2015 is just weird. You know what I'm saying?
Just hell, did you heard the recent the whole backlash on Twitter? The whole thing, the whole they got, everyone literally lost their shit when the Twitter Captain America changed the whole Steve Rogers from the comic book, from the movies and the video games to Sam Wilson Captain America. And everyone lost their shit. And I'm oh god, screw all of you, you fucking racist fucks. He's gonna be everything. And that's another thing too. I'm I never understood why did they hated him. Granted, his second book sucked like hell, but you couldn't tell me, you couldn't give him a better writer and have him become Captain America. It made no sense. It was insulting.
Now, one of the things about for the Captain America legacy in the movies, they set up that now in the comics, Bucky did not have the super soldier serum, but in the movie he did. So was their original plan to have Bucky become Captain America?
There were teases of him becoming Captain America. I could say that without a doubt. There were teases the way he grabbed the shield. There were teases of having him become Captain America. But I feel like they looked at it and they're so pro diversity. And a lot of things, Kevin Feige really wanted to go diversity a lot. And I saw, and personally, I think they saw the whole, the new comics that's going on at that time. Yeah. And they realized, okay, let's do Miss Marvel. Let's do Ironheart. Let's do...
Yeah, because the comics...
Jane Foster,
the comic books from Marvel Now. Remember Marvel Now from late 2012 onwards?
Yeah,
The goal of that is to make it, make it for future media, adventures.
That's true. But but the whole thing is the way I looked at it is they were trying to push the new direction on Marvel and Marvel movies. Marvel Studios, and this is why I saw a lot of the Marvel comic book fans. There's a split divide. You're a comic book fan and like the comics and also like the movies, but but you're a guy. But and this is another thing. You're a fan base that hates the comics, what's going on right now, criticize whatever the hell they're doing, and love the shit at what they're going in the movies. It was it was a split divide. It made no sense whatsoever. So, it is what it is.
For comic books, I'm a fan of particular eras.
Yeah, and also another thing is I just don't understand a lot of times when I look at a lot of the bullshit on the fan base that they have. I'm like, dude, do you not see what they were trying to do? The Jane Foster Thor, and I'm like, I literally asked him, like, do you not get like this was only a short term deal, maybe 2 years at least? I told that my dad, he didn't like it, but yet again, he got what I was saying, but he still didn't like it. But the problem is, these minority idiot dumbasses think that they are entitled to. And this another thing. It kind of reminds me of the Snyder fans to an extent. The Snyder fans, they think they're so hot shit and they demand everything, but yet again, they're so stupid because they don't realize that they're caving into what Warner Brothers wants. This is why I say I'm done with them. Like, I'm tired of
everyone's still blaming Jeff Johns for literally everything.
Dude, he is gonna be I wouldn't be surprised no one buys whatever comic book he does next. I mean, only the hardcore fans will only buy his books now because, I mean, he has lost so much of respect on DC fans. It is going to take a miracle.
Maybe he should go back to Marvel. His Marvel stuff was good.
He worked at Marvel?
He worked at Marvel back in the 2000s. I think it was the same time he was doing DC.
What books did he did?
He did a run on Avengers before Bendis had jumped on the book, I believe. He did Morlocks and he did a Thing book.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't know he worked at Marvel. I thought he was a DC writer. Okay.
I mean, he is a DC fan, but like he did a little work at Marvel too. So maybe he has like a fan thing for Marvel. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, like, we'll see how things go. I honestly kind of feel like he just likes to light hope because he sees, like you say, maybe he's just a fan.
He's a Silver Age fanboy. He's a Silver Age fanboy.
I mean, granted, I'm a Silver Age fanboy of the Thor comics. I mean, I always feel like the Silver Age comics of Thor was the only thing great, and everything after that is really went so. I mean, there's a lot. I
like the bankruptcy years of Marvel. I like the bankruptcy years. 96 to 2012.
Oh yeah, that was a great shit too. I granted, I like my stuff. I love everything in 90s in Marvel. Almost everything in 90s in Marvel, even the good and the bad. It was pure greatness. Early Marvel stuff in the comics, if you're don't counting the Ultimates, it's so. Because besides Iron Man and maybe Avengers, Thor really wasn't really going so well. Spider-Man, whatever.
Oh, you mean like in the late 90s, early 2000s?
2000 or early, like 2000, 1999, 2001-ish.
Yeah, you mean like the Howard Mackie and John Byrne era of Spider-Man and
yeah, like stuff like that. I wasn't really feeling that crap. Granted, good stuff.
Yeah, that stuff was more like back to basics,
Yeah.
To a bad degree of back to basics.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. I gotta go do stuff. Hope it was good talking to you again. I mean, we had almost 2 hours. Shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, if any of you guys wants to come talk to me whenever I'm done ranting on, let's say, whatever I talk about, or I have like a live stream on whatever I'm talking, because I have thought about, and also another thing I have thought about doing watch parties on the latest Star Wars or the latest fucking Marvel show, and we just all watch it together in a website I go to. I mean, granted, I don't have a Disney Plus, which granted I should, but yet again, it is what it is. Money's tight, and that's all I'll say. So you got to do what you got to do. And but yeah, I mean, I thought about doing that, doing watch parties, and everyone watches it with me and everything going forward. I don't know if anyone wants to do that. I don't know about you, but I mean, I thought about doing that when.
Yeah, that would be cool. You should do one about favorite comics. I could come in like a favorite era of comics or something like that.
Oh, I'll tell you right out of the gate. My favorite comic books besides the '90s, my favorite were the silver, or the 1987, 1971 or 72. That was my favorite time period in comic books. Down
Mm-hmm.
to 86. That's that whole time period. Granted, like that was like during the Silver Age, all
Mm-hmm.
the way down to the Golden Age to an extent.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I mean, '90s, like besides Marvel and DC, I don't know much about '90s stuff on DC stuff. I mean, '90s DC comics. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
I'm
there
more
was
of a
a death of
Marvel. I'm like a
Superman.
super. I'm a Marvel, like super Marvel comics type of guy.
I know that, like, I don't know about the '90s stuff on DC. Like, I know there was Nightfall and Death of Superman, and you had to wear
Yeah.
Superman didn't have his powers, and he had weapons of guns, and he looked like fucking Cable, or he
Yeah,
looked
that
like a
stuff.
character from
I
the X-Men. I
yeah,
mean,
I remember
it's like
that.
I'm like,
That was
oh my
weird.
god, that was weird. I'm like, this is so dumb and so stupid at the same time. I literally don't know what the. I mean, granted,
Marvel's
it's kind
always
of.
had a better jumping on type of mentality
But
with their
also
comics.
another thing is like I feel like my and if you want to know my favorite Avengers run, it's the first run on the Avengers, but it's in a particular time period where it's issue 1, all the
Mhm.
giant size books,
Oh yeah, I remember those.
all the way down to 151.
Mm.
That's where me and my dad stopped, and I'll tell you why. Ever since Thor left the team, it was a really all over the place. It felt like you establish almost everything, like an entire saga, like
Mhm.
five or six seasons show, and you're doing this weird direction for many years to come. And then later on, you had the Avengers pretty much wear jackets and this whole. It looked like they were trying to do the
Oh, you
club.
mean that Bob Harris and like Terry Kavanaugh and
Yeah,
those
and they
guys?
shaved Hercules' beard away, and I'm like, what kind? I literally looked at my eyes, literally just like my eyes are bleeding. What
How
is
did you
this?
feel
This
about the
shit?
crossing? How did you feel about the crossing event? Remember that one?
What was
The
that?
crossing. You remember that the Avengers event, the crossing, where Iron Man was like, apparently this entire time he was under the influence of Kang, and he was like an agent for Kang, and
I know that what you're talking about. I kind of find that was dumb, but yet again, nothing could really piss me off than what Gillian did.
oh
What
yeah, I
Gillian
remember that.
did, that pissed me off because I mean, like, okay, he's not the son of Howard Stark, but well, let's go even better. He's also the cause of the Incredible Hulk, and I'm like, that lost me. I'm like, you are telling me your dumbass idea thought, oh, let's have Tony be the cause of the Hulk's creation, the most dumbass excuse. I would have never approved that. That ruins Tony Stark. That makes him even more into a piece of shit character. And I hate that because another thing too, I hate it. And this is why I hate about Civil War. They made and they did the same thing with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
Hmm.
They made every little thing to where they're the bad guys, they're the dumbasses, they're the assholes, and it's just it makes me hate to my stomach on that because I'm like, I really don't like that if it's like my favorite characters, and it's
Hmm.
just I mean, granted, I'm a casual fan of Captain Marvel and Captain America, but it's just like
Hmm.
I love Iron Man. He's like a childhood hero of mine, and it's
Hmm.
like I don't want him to be the bad guy because it
Yeah, I thought
makes me.
Bendis was gonna make him a scroll. I thought Bendis was gonna just say, "Oh yeah, it was a scroll." Secret Invasion had so much potential for the characters that were acting out of character to just be scrolls.
That too. But it's also I give Bendis some more pointers on doing things that you really like guessing
Wouldn't expect.
what's going on. And it really was, and this is why I just feel like go back to Marvel. Go back to Marvel. You deserve going back to Marvel, man. You don't really work at DC that very well, unless you're gonna throw your Naomi crap all over. Rich really.
I saw him post about Naomi. They've already had production, and they have the there's like a picture of her doing the issue 1 pose with the pictures.
Oh, do they got an actress? Yeah,
already. They have an entire cast, everything. So Bendis is already getting royalties.
Really?
Go to his Instagram. It's on his Instagram page.
Oh, dude, I'm dying to see this. I mean, like, because I've been really looking forward to it, because I've been like, I have her book. I mean, I like her a lot. I do think she's an amazing character. But the problem is, I mean, like, just better terms is just, I wish in better terms, like, I really wish Bendis did something really great on her more. Like, just give her a comic book. She just started her own story.
He's supposed to be coming out with like season. It's supposed to be like a book called like Naomi season 2 or something, from what I heard about solicitations or something like that.
I'm going into his Instagram. I'm going to his Instagram. Wait, that's the actress?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I saw this already. I didn't know this was the actress. I thought this was fan art.
Yeah, under the thing, it says something about production number 2 or something, production day 1 or something like that.
Oh, shit. This is, okay, I could totally see it. Okay. All right.
And then if you scroll down, he has like, there's like a casting call for it, and it has all the actors or something.
I'll be looking forward to the show. I really am. I mean, I'm a biggest Bendis tard. I love almost everything except his DC stuff.
Same here. That's me.
I mean, like, I like Naomi. She's the only thing interesting character about her. She's the only thing that I could buy into. But I mean, the problem is with Bendis. This is the issue with Bendis. He's not fitting Marvel. He's not fitting DC. He fits the Marvel formula because he fits it. It's like let's have Stan Lee join DC. How's everyone?
Oh yeah, remember when Stan Lee actually did that?
Yeah, and it did not work at all. And
those characters.
It was the most weirdest shit I ever seen. I'm like, this doesn't really fit. This doesn't fit. Certain writers should be only Marvel. Like Marvel, like Bendis, he deserves to go back to Marvel. Like, I personally feel like, and there's a lot of times I feel like I really should just go to his Tumblr, write a big ass post, consider doing a video and giving factual evidence saying you can't work with Marvel. You can't work on, I keep saying Marvel, you can't work on DC. You just don't work. If you really want to do your own shit, granted, I've seen you do your own independent stories on DC as a publisher. Oh yeah,
his Jinx World thing.
Yeah.
Initiative.
Yes. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I get it. Totally understandable. That's fine. That's totally good. That's totally fine. But as a guy who read your Superman stuff that did absolutely nothing with the character of Superman, and that's a shock for me because I thought he was the only guy that I think he could fix my issues with Superman. No, he just made him 10 times more worse, and it's just it facepalm. And
I heard a lot of people were calling his book super cuck.
No, that too. But I mean, a lot of times it was shit after shit after shit. Worthless after worthless. The only good thing about this, it did Supergirl's run really good. You had that whole story arc going forward, having her find what was going on, what happened on Krypton, going forward with that whole direction. It was a good story, granted. It was all good until her book got canned. But it's just,
Yeah, he should go back to Marvel. Like I would love to see him do Punisher End of Days, which was never made and it was canceled. Or
I really think he should go do the Scarlet Spider story. I think he should.
oh, you mean all those plot threads that were never resolved in Ultimate
Yeah,
Spider-Man?
never resolved. Just literally like
Eddie Brock,
just
Peter's parents apparently were still alive, apparently, or killed by the
yeah,
Hulk or
exactly.
something.
Yeah, you're just literally like, what happened? And that's
Yeah.
another thing too. They keep on bringing back the Ultimate Universe, and there have been expressed interest on rebooting or reviving the Ultimate Universe. And I said this: the only way to do this, if they're going to go back to it, like, granted, if they're going to go back to it, to what we have left off, and have where Miles goes back home to his universe, or just make it where something happened to where he pulled into the Ultimate Universe because of reasons, and somehow the laws of physics made his parents into the 616 continuity. And that's why you have the two Miles interacting. You have the 616 Miles, and you have the Miles from the Ultimate Universe clashing multiple times. So I feel like they're going to have to resolve that issue.
Yeah, get the 616 Miles back to his world, resurrect his wife, and let him, I don't know, become something, and then keep Ultimate Miles and his Ultimate family and Ultimate characters in the Ultimate Universe.
That's another thing too. Like, how, like, if they resolve that, will they replace Miles? That's the thing. Like, are they going to replace him with the 616 version? And that's why I feel like a lot of fans would just be not really great. A lot of fans would just rather just kill him off and just go forward with the
like, that's the thing about the multiverse. Things can coexist. Like, we don't have to ruin one.
I mean, they could even just have it where they just swap universe and just go forward. But the problem with the whole thing is, like, they're doing this direction. They have that problem with Miles to a certain degree that I feel like it's an easy solution to a certain level. But if Bendis ever comes back, I would rather have him conclude those stories.
Because isn't Bendis, everything Bendis is wrote is like his own little Bendis verse, right?
Yeah, pretty much. He only cares about his little bubble. That's the kind of writer he is. Which, to be fair, I can understand that he only wants to do his own little thing, and that's
him and Jeff Johns. Him and Jeff Johns are like, they only do their own little universes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And they were like the golden, like, Bendis is the golden, Quesada's golden boy. Remember that?
Oh, dude, he was the golden boy. I mean, he put out every book that was really good. I mean, even his okayish book, I liked it. Hell, I liked his X-Men run, both of them. Even though I really wasn't a big fan of his Uncanny X-Men, I liked his all new X-Men because they represented the X-Men stuff that I really liked, and I really felt like they should go back, which they ultimately did. But it really just, I really feel like with the X-Men, or not just X-Men, the whole thing of Bendis, it's just, Bendis really, if you're gonna do stuff, just do stuff with Naomi, or just do stuff with DC as a publisher to put out your own books. You suck at doing DC characters. I mean, the only thing he's proved me wrong is the Batman story.
Oh, you mean that Batman universe, Silver Age?
Yeah, the Batman story, which really wasn't Silver Age, because I really felt like it was just.
It was a homage to Silver Age comics, I believe.
Oh, okay. But it was a good damn one. But yet again, I'm like, at first I even said, I'm like, why don't he just take over after Tom King? But yet again, I thought he's probably going to do the same shit.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I don't want to get rid of Black Cat, Catwoman, and let's get rid of everything that we established and just throw our own shit. And I'm like, oh, great. That would piss me off.
Would have been cool if he was like doing something at DC, a Daredevil and Batman crossover with Alex Maleev on art.
If only Disney and Marvel approved it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. And like, granted, if Disney and Marvel decide and that's the thing, if AT&T gives it to Marvel, to DC Comics, oh, we're back at home, buddy. I mean, like, that's all I'm gonna say. I wouldn't be surprised Bendis calls up Joe Quesada and the rest of the editor of Marvel and saying, "Hey, can I get my job back?" And they say, "No problem, buddy. You can work with DC Comics too. Go do your own thing. Just
Yeah.
your own shit."
And then maybe he can do what he was supposed to do with the Ultimate Universe, which is write all the 4 books.
I think he would have to throw in something to where it explained what happened to the Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm. He could write all 4 books if he wanted to, and that can be his little bubble.
Yeah, that too. I mean, it was also like kind of explained during the time frame of Miles in the 616 universe, and we have where the Prowler and the 616 Miles come into the Ultimate Universe, and they meet up with Peter. They meet up with the Ultimates and going forward. Now, granted, I love Ultimate End. I thought that was great. I thought that was good. Seeing 2 different Hulks beating the shit out of each other, I'm like, oh god, this.
Yeah, it was great, but it was one of those things where it was just Bendis dropping his mic, I guess, mic drop moment.
No, and that's another thing. And just seeing Iron Man with, like, you have the Invincible Iron Man and you have the Ultimate Iron Man flying together. Oh man, it had such fan service, and in a way, a lot of people thought, why don't we do our own Infinite Crisis type direction?
Yeah.
That would have been great. I mean, and it could have happened, but I mean, yet again, it's like,
yeah, Marvel took like 50 years to learn from DC's mistakes, which is pretty much their comics.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, well, I think we're done now. I'm gonna go fucking play Marvel's Avengers and go watch. I don't know if you've seen this show called Shadow and Bone. This Netflix show that came out.
I think I've heard of it.
That's based on a book series. It's a good show. What I watched in the first episode. Oh, did you see Invincible?
Oh yeah, I've been watching. I haven't seen 6, 7, and 8 yet. I haven't seen those episodes.
I haven't either yet. But I mean, I'll say this. I really want. I've been thinking about doing like characters that really should be getting an animated series. Hellboy's one of them. Witchblade, Savage Dragon, Shadowhawk.
Oh, the Image Universe.
And Spawn. That's the main characters. And also the Darkness, and Witchblade. Like I really want those characters.
If the creators, do they work together well, or are they like, no, you can't do that?
I mean, they're a part of Image and Top Cow. It's like, what's the word? It's a working relationship, but I mean, and that's another thing too. I really want a Witchblade and a Darkness comic book. They kind of cancel the Witchblade comic books not once but twice. There was first one. It was like kind of like continuation of Witchblade, but it ended silently, and there was a reboot of Witchblade, and that was really good, but it stopped, and I'm assuming that got canned even further.
The one speaking of other like comic companies I would like to see animated or something, maybe The Authority or something like that from Wildstorm, if Jim Lee would ever do anything with those.
I can see that. I can see that. I mean, personally, it would be really cool to see something like that. I mean, like, another thing I wouldn't mind, and this would be Netflix. I know, actually, Netflix has the rights to it, or Netflix made a deal with this comic book company, Power Rangers. Boom Studios Power Rangers comics to be adapted into an animated series, which Hasbro has expressed interest on an animated series. And I'm like, oh yes, they're already moving into Netflix. I'm like,
Power Rangers feels like something that should have been an animated show.
Oh, dude, there were talks. There was even a short pilot episode. It's on YouTube. It's like, damn, it's that good. I mean, why the fuck? And it's like, it's the same people of who does Miraculous, Ladybug, and Cat Noir animation studio. They did a short version of Power Rangers, It was called Power Rangers Origins, and
Oh.
it was going to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all over again, but in animated series style. Which honestly, I'm like, I wouldn't mind it either. But yet again, I've been dying to see Shattered Grid and the whole story on that whole thing, and also Beyond the Grid, where you had future Kate Bishop, not future Kate Bishop, what the hell, future Kate and Kimberly. Correct myself, what the fuck, future Kimberly as the Slayer Ranger, and she takes over the future, or possible future, should I say, and you had villains from Power Rangers in space and all this crazy shit. I'm just thinking, God damn, they're just getting better and better. I mean, why the fuck can we not have this into the current season? It's so not fair.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me. But I mean, yet again, I mean, I'm really kind of grateful. I mean, what we have, it's just, even though I like the newer seasons, I like Dino Charge. I haven't seen Dino Knights yet. I haven't seen Ninjas
like Power Rangers stuff in in a way long time, like childhood vibes.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, I always watch the other shows, and my last Power Ranger show, which was Jungle Fury, that was the last show I watched. And I mean, it was a good show too.
What about the one when they turn into like police officers?
Oh, that was an SPD. That was a good show too. I grew up with that stuff. Like a lot of the Disney era that people love to shit on. They did an amazing job. To be fair, I kind of wish Disney did. I wish Disney kept the rights.
They could have made an MCU style Power Ranger like franchise out of it.
Dude, I'm like thinking. To be fair, I was thinking like, dude, I can imagine them just saying, "Hey, we got Power Rangers. Let's do this shit. Let's have Marvel publish Power Rangers comics." Oh man, it would have been. Oh, the fan in me would just literally lose it.
I mean, that's probably where society is kind of heading with Disney acquiring everything.
Speaking about society, the biggest what's that word? I'm a big like sci-fi type guy. Also a little bit of science to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. I like shows that very much that represents certain things that I really am interested in, like let's say conspiracy theories or fucking aliens or shit like that. I always am into that stuff, but I always like am knowledge on the AI type aspect, and there is a lot of things that really express the AI crap, and I wouldn't be surprised that in less than 5 years we have that.
Oh yeah, Ultron.
And it's just like I feel like, for better for worse, it's going to happen because we kind of doomed ourselves. But it's just like the problem is with everything. It's just like I feel like people, they don't want to take the blame on anything, and that's just I see a lot. Like we made this, we gotta try to fix our own demons in a way. But I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, like that's the type of person I am on a lot of things, and I feel like with the shows or just literally stuff that I like a lot, it's just that's the type of person that I'm interested in, like conspiracy theories besides the superhero genre and science fiction and a little bit of fantasy.
Street level type of things.
Oh, okay.
Like whenever I have like a story, I kind of tend it to be a little bit grounded,
Oh, I could understand that. I mean, like that's I'm all for that. I mean, like I like. Go on.
Oh, like you know how like in like in comic book fiction, how to like, oh, we have to explain like this alien race or whatever out there, or we have to explain the history. I'm like, why can't they just be like, experiments that went wrong or something, you know?
Oh yeah,
I know
I
that's a
could
big
agree with
cop
that.
out, but you know.
I could agree with that statement. I mean, like that's the thing. Like people kind of don't see, they don't look at the issue, and I kind of feel like people need to tend to look at the issue, and I really feel like they need to like look at the bigger problem. In
Mhm.
my opinion, like I feel like uh, the way I see the direction on certain issues of street level stuff, it could be a really good subject, but it also could be very tough. Let's say very touchy subject.
Mhm.
Um, and certain things like let's just put it in better terms. If you had, let's say, talk about racism and all that good jazz, I mean, you have to really give a good story to buy into it, or just people will get
Yeah.
insulted. Um,
Yeah.
and that's just the hardcore truth. I mean, I,
Yeah, did
I'm,
Falcon and the
I'm
Winter
not.
Soldier do that correctly?
Yeah, they did. Even they kind of go a little bit. Let's just say it kind of attacked them to a certain extent, because I mean, they say they would never let a black Captain America, and the same thing what Falcon said. I'm just your average guy wearing the stars and stripes and the red and blue and white flag. No white boy, blue eyes, blonde hair. What does that remind you of? Your average white boy. That's that's the like. It's kind of racist to an extent. They kind of will throw that little shade, but it's like it worked for the story driven. It worked for the point where they were trying to say. Now, granted, if you're like a geeks and gamers, you would get easy offended, which I wouldn't be
Oh
surprised
boy.
he. I wouldn't be surprised that fuck literally does that shit because I can't stand that fuck. I really can't. I mean, I lost my brain cells every time I listened to that guy. I mean, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm like, I could never take seriously with that type of person, and that really says a lot to a show on that person. And I just like you're gonna be that person. That tells me you are just so dumb. You would rather be what you are, and that's just
Yeah,
I'm
I
kind of
don't
done.
watch any of that type of you know, content, but
You,
I'm not like the biggest fan of Star Wars or new Star Wars or anything like that. Like the stuff I liked from Star
I'm
Wars was
not
like,
like I get what you're saying. I'm kind of in the same way, but I'm also kind of like in the same like mindset of like I don't want to have those type of people in Marvel, which or DC, which I really like.
mhm.
I feel like that's slowly becoming, and it gives you that, oh great, here we go again, and it's just it really kind of gives you that dilemma of like, Jesus Christ, can we just move on for a moment? I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, uh, besides all that stuff, it's just I really feel like people need to stop responding towards Warner Brothers, and yeah, I'm gonna end this shit. I gotta get going. It was good
Yeah,
talking to you,
you too.
man. I mean, I definitely should do a party watch on whatever show I'm watching. Yeah, I'll do that. Later, man.